Trace Genco has admitted to a hate crime plot to massacre women on the campus of an Ohio university. He is in jail awaiting sentencing. Hey everybody. Welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey, Katie.
Hello. We've just had a rough tech start here. It's okay. We're here.
Just this episode, I don't know. It's fine now. It's all fine. We're good.
Yes.
We're good. So this is our Tuesday episode. Katie, how are you?
I am well. Yeah, just no big complaints, just going through the greatest night of the year, Halloween, and now we're moving on.
Right? Now to all those other holidays. If I start hearing Christmas music, I'm going to fuck somebody up.
You're gonna. I started, I've already started making my Christmas stuff for shows and stuff. So over the weekend, I was making snow globe tumblers that are Christmas themed.
Yeah.
And it had me singing a Christmas song that matched one of the tumblers I was making, and I was threatened within an inch of my life.
I bet you were.
We're not having that quite yet.
Does seem soon. However, it is also roaring right up on us. So
yeah, it is. Yep.
All right. Well, let's get started. I know you have a little breaking news update for us.
Yeah. You may have heard that over the weekend, someone broke into the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi's home, and attacked her husband. So I'm going to share a little bit about that.
Yeah.
This is the suspect. This is a man by the name of David Depape. And I'll share you a little bit about what we know about it. So he broke into their home Friday night and was yelling, "Where's Nancy?"
Yeah.
And he detained and then attacked her husband, Paul, who's 82 years old, with a hammer. He ended up having to have surgery for a fractured skull from that hammer, as well as some injuries to his hands and arms. It did trip their security system when he came in, and so the police got there relatively fast and actually were able to catch David Depape in the act. And so there's not a whole lot of question about whether or not this is the suspect.
Right.
So what do we know about David? Well, we know that he is what would be coined these days as a conspiracy theorist with very alt-right QAnon type beliefs posted all over his social medias, as well as the things that he said. Now, there's got to be some additional evidence, because one thing that we're hearing today is that he had a whole hit list. There were 4 people on the list that he was attempting to attack. His hope was to hold Paul there until Nancy got home. Nancy, who was on the other side of the country.
Yeah, not real clear on how the whole system works, apparently, because Nancy, this is the week before the election. You really think she would not be in Washington? Like, come on.
This is not the first attempt or threat on Nancy Pelosi's life. And I think that's a very frightening and sad state of politics in the United States at this point, that
Definitely is.
our elected officials' lives are literally in danger every moment, which you could maybe make that argument at any time, but this is a whole lot more real. This is terrifying. I am so grateful for the Pelosi family that Paul lived through this, and he is expected to make a full recovery, but my God, he's 82.
Yeah, with a head injury from a hammer.
Yeah.
My God. I mean, can you get more brutal? He was breaking into their house to beat Nancy Pelosi to death with a hammer.
Really scary. So he's expected to be arraigned on Tuesday. And There's on many charges, obviously. One
Mhm.
of the charges they're expecting to see is elder abuse.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's interesting.
yeah.
Well, it's 82.
So here's what we're expecting to see is attempted homicide, assault with a deadly weapon, elder abuse, burglary, and several additional felonies. There was immediately a picture of the suspect being passed around on some news sites of a black man, which was just completely incorrect. This is
Yeah,
our guy.
yeah.
There have also been some rumors that particularly were passed around on Twitter by Elon Musk, claiming that this
Curious.
was some kind of a gay thing gone wrong. None of those things are true. This is
No.
your boy. This is David Depape. David was trying to kill the Speaker of the House because he does not agree with her politics.
Yep,
He attacked her husband and beat him with a hammer because he does not agree with their politics. This is exactly what it looks like.
sure is.
So we'll keep an eye on it. He'll be arraigned again. Well, it is Tuesday. This is our Tuesday episode. He will be arraigned today. So we'll keep an eye on that and come back and report on that during Wednesday night case updates. But,
Mhm.
you know, we do our best to not be too political on this show. But this has nothing to do with politics. This is a crime. This has everything to do with criminal behavior as well as just decency and the
Oh,
boiling point that we're at with politics in this country that I think is
right.
extremely concerning.
Well, Nancy Pelosi is third in line to the presidency. Like, this is
Mhm.
a very powerful and influential person. You're not,
Mhm.
I mean, you're not going to get away with attacking people with a hammer, period. But you think you're going to go after someone with that kind of standing in this country? Give me a break.
So had she been home, she would have had a security detail.
Right. He would have
But
never got through.
what he didn't, which
Yeah.
clearly needs to change, you
Well,
know.
because there have been quite a lot of threats on her life in the last few years. I'm
Mhm.
surprised that there isn't a security detail on her husband
Mhm.
and on her house in San Francisco. That doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
There are certain organizations that are basically trying to diminish this, brush it under the rug.
Right?
One Fox News host said that people get hit by hammers, attacked by hammers all the time. This really isn't that big of a
He just
deal.
said hit. People get hit
Yeah,
by hammers all the time. Like, that's the same thing, like hitting your thumb, as
right,
some lunatic attacking you and hitting you in the head. What a
right.
dumbass.
There's been a lot said that has really upset me and frustrated me with this so far because we should all be horrified.
Yeah.
No one should be excusing this or downplaying it. We should all be horrified and
This is
pissed off and
period. End
demanding
of
better.
story. Not okay. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So that's where it's at. Very disappointed in the way the some organizations have responded to this. Just basic comments I'm seeing on social media. Come on,
Yeah.
let's get some decorum here. Let's recognize what's right and what's wrong, regardless of who you're talking
Grow
about.
the fuck up.
Yeah,
Like,
all of
ugh,
that.
so tired of
All of
all of it.
that. So there you go. Well, Kristi, I'm going to turn the mic back over to you for our main case.
Yes. So let's talk about Trace Genco.
Yes.
Trace. Trace was arrested in July of 2021 with a bunch of guns, a bunch of ammunition, a manifesto, and
Whew.
a plan to shoot up an Ohio State campus, although we've never been told what university. Um, his goal was to kill as many women as possible. He said that he was hoping for upwards of 3,000 victims.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So Trace
Oh.
came into into police purview in 2020 when someone reported, and it's been kept private who that was. Someone reported that he was barricaded in a room in his house with a weapon, and that he was either going to kill himself or he was plotting to kill someone else. So police came out, they talked to him, They searched his car, where they found, he had an AR-15 style weapon. He also had a Glock that had been modified to make it an automatic weapon. He had ammo, like scary. They kind of treated it as a mental health event and didn't arrest him at that point. It was in July of 2021 that the whole story finally came out. He was arrested by federal agents at that point. So he has referred to himself as an incel. And if you don't know what that means, it means involuntarily celibate. There's a whole movement of men, generally younger men, across the world who believe that they are owed sex by women, and that when they don't get it because women don't want to date them, don't want to be with them, I don't know, maybe because this is who you are, you dumb jackass, then they feel that they, have the right to retribution. So he has been in jail since July of last year.
Good.
Finally, just in the last few days, pled guilty to one count of a hate crime, basically, is what they're calling it, and an attempted hate crime.
Wow.
So he is in jail, awaiting sentencing. One of the things I find really scary about this is that a plan to attempt a hate crime. Fortunately, he didn't commit one. Mm-hmm. However, I don't know how long he's really going to go away for this.
Right.
And he is a very dangerous young man.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you a few of the things that he said on social media. Because, of course, this has been all over. He's been posting this kind of stuff all over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
In one post, he went into detail about spraying some foids and couples with orange juice in a water gun, which, was just a joke around what he was actually going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Foids is an incel term short for femoids, which is a crude term referring to women.
Ew.
Yeah. Super.
Yikes.
He also had some of his writings said he would slaughter women out of hatred, jealousy, and revenge, and referring to death as the great equalizer.
Oh my God.
Yeah. This dude is really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Really scary. And I'm concerned that what he's pled to is one count of plotting a hate crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has had some of the things they found that he's searched on his computer was planning a shooting crime. And when does preparing for a crime become an attempt?
Oh.
Yeah. He's
Got
also a big admirer of Elliot Rodger. Elliot Rodger killed 6 people and injured 14 others in Isla Vista, California in 2014. And there were some of the victims were shot outside of the University of California, Santa Barbara's sorority house. And it is believed that Genco was looking at sorority houses and things like that to find a place where he could have hit the most women at one time.
Oh.
Yeah. So this guy is terrifying.
Yeah.
And so are his buddies, because there are millions of them.
Right. That's it. That's the thing that's the most terrifying. But besides this nonsense, is that he's by far not alone.
No, he isn't. And that is frightening, because him going to prison for this, there will be some backlash. We've seen that before.
Oh, definitely.
His incel friends are often think he's innocent, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a scary situation. This is a really unstable human being. We don't know yet really what the terms of this deal are, or what kind of sentence he's going to get.
Yeah.
It is federal, which is better.
Mm-hmm.
but it's still probably not going to be enough time. He's young, and he's could probably serve a sentence and come out and still do the same damn thing.
Right. Right. Yikes. I mean, there's so either you got choices and options here. You could either, quit being creepy and gross,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe women would be more interested in you,
Right.
or you can just try to kill as many of them as possible.
Right.
Hmm.
You think maybe women just have good intuition and go, this guy is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So in January of 2020, he wrote a document. It's his dumb manifesto, like these idiots always have. It was titled Isolated. Well, I mean, they all have one now.
Mm-hmm.
He described it as the writings of the deluded and homicidal, and he signed the document, your hopeful friend and murderer.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
There's no doubt that this guy was going to explode at one point or another.
Yeah.
The
Thank
fact
God
that
he
they got
didn't.
ahead of him
Yeah.
and got a hold of him beforehand gives me hope, except that,
Mm-hmm.
there's 1,000 more just like him out there.
Yep. Waiting in the wings. Yep. Yikes.
I guess he can face life in prison for this, but we don't know if he'll get that much.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
He won't.
actually hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Thank God. But, at what point do we look at someone and go, you can't go back out into the world. You are
Right.
not safe at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. At what point do we go, you are not fit for public ever?
Yeah. So I will keep a close eye on this case. We'll update it for you, but I was really glad to see. I remember when he was arrested,
Mm-hmm.
but it was COVID time, and
Yeah.
so he's been waiting for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope that they send him away for a really long time. It
Me
worries
too.
me a lot that he won't get enough of a sentence
Agreed.
to fully protect the public from him, because there's no coming back from what he wants to do.
No. My God. Very scary.
Yep. Also, this needs to be a message to the incel community. He needs
Yeah.
to be made an example of, honestly.
Absolutely.
You start plotting this shit, you're going to prison for life.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care if you shoot shoot a single bullet. The fact that you were planning it in the first place and have, done all your crazy social media posting and written your damn manifesto and have all your guns is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Is enough.
Absolutely.
Because our justice system reacts to crime.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't prevent crime. And in this case, it did prevent crime.
Mm-hmm. It's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle that somehow he didn't hurt somebody first.
Right? It is. So that's what we know so far. We'll keep you updated as more information comes out. I'm sure there will be lots more over time. But in the meantime, Kitty, you have some DNA for the win for us.
Yes. All right. I would like to introduce you to Mr. Maurice Hastings.
Okay.
Maurice has been in prison for the last 38 years
Oh my God.
for a rape and a murder in Los Angeles. And Maurice has been freed because there has finally been DNA testing that, guess what it proved?
He was innocent.
He was innocent. He has maintained his innocence the whole time. 20 years ago, they were in court, he and his legal team, asking for DNA testing, and it was denied. And yet, finally, in 2021, they did finally do the DNA testing, and what they discovered is that he's not the perpetrator.
Yeah.
So the Innocence Project at California State University, Los Angeles, has been working on his behalf, and along with his attorneys, and so they are asking, of course, that his conviction be overturned, and that's finally happening. He is 69 years old now.
My God. How long was he in prison?
38 years.
Jesus. It's a whole lifetime.
Mhm.
When you think about all of the things that he could have done in his life.
Yep.
My
Yep.
God.
It is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So the Los Angeles DA's integrity unit did ask the court to vacate the murder conviction on October 20th, and that now has happened. Here's what they said. What has happened to Mr. Hastings is a terrible injustice. The justice system is not perfect, and when we learn of new evidence which causes us to lose confidence in a conviction, it is our obligation to act swiftly. That was the DA's office.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve some props for that, but I guess, except for that 20
I
years
guess,
ago,
but
they were asked
sitting
to
on the
do this.
DNA
Yeah.
all this time.
When he was done with court and finally a free man, he was able to sit down and enjoy a lobster dinner with his family,
Oh, good.
which was his request,
Right? Wouldn't that be like the first thing? Like, what are you
right?
going to eat when you get out of prison? I know that guys have other things they want to, but
Mhm.
really, like when you've eaten prison food for 38 years, what would be the one thing that you're like, my God,
Mhm.
I got to have this? There's probably like a huge list,
Yeah.
but well, I'm happy for him. I hope that he sues the shit out of his state
Mhm.
for this and gets some serious money.
Me too. Me too.
At
They do
least
know who the
something.
perp is.
Oh, they do? Really?
They're dead.
Oh, of course. That's how this always
Mhm.
goes.
Yep. It is someone who did eventually go to prison.
Really, just
So
for
here's
something
what
else.
they said. The DNA belonged to a person in the database who had engaged in and had been convicted of an armed kidnapping where he placed his female victim in the trunk of a vehicle, as well as kidnap, rape, and forcible oral copulation of a young woman, for which he was sentenced to 56 years in custody. He'd
Jesus.
been in prison and he died in prison. And that matches this victim. This victim's name was Roberta. Let's see. Let me get there. Roberta Widmeyer. And her body was found in the trunk of her car with a single gunshot wound to the head. She had been sexually assaulted, and the swab of semen was an oral swab, meaning this guy had an MO. What he did to Roberta was exactly what he did to the next person,
My God.
except for that he didn't murder them. And that's what he went to prison for.
Wow.
Yeah. But at least, an innocent man goes free. And thank God he wasn't given the death penalty, because
Right?
had he been, he'd probably be long gone by now.
Yeah, he would.
So often in these cases, we see the DNA for a win case as, as finally getting justice for a family or for a victim.
Right.
But every once in a while, we also see DNA come forward and be the hero in someone who's been convicted wrongfully. And I'm just very happy for Maurice that he is finally able to at least get some of his life back. He's
Yeah.
69 years old, but
God.
he's got some time left with his family. And I agree with you. I hope that he gets a settlement out of this that just sets him and his family up forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the very least that they could do.
At the very, very least. Yep.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yep. So there you have it.
Whew. Wow. Well, that's been quite a round of cases, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will be back tomorrow. This is our Tuesday episode. So we'll be back tomorrow with our Wednesday episode and our Wednesday live case updates live stream at 7 p.m. Mountain on YouTube and Facebook. So please be sure to join us for that. There will be more info to share on a lot of cases right now that we've got a lot of stuff we're pending, waiting for the next step. There's a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff. So we'll have all of that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't forget to check us out over on Patreon. We are True Crime Squad on Patreon, and we do 2 extra cases each month for just our patrons. It's a nominal fee, and it helps support us, and for that, you get some extra content. So check us out over there. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, It all helps us to grow, which we really appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? We are the True Crime Squad. Thanks for being here.
Take care. Okay.
All righty then. You know, one case I had considered for a group case this week is that New York has settled with the lawsuits filed on the behalf of two men that were convicted of Malcolm X's murder.
Really?
Well, their cases were thrown out last November.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, after one of them had already died in prison.
Wow.
The other one is out. Huge Brady violations, just like this case you just talked about.
Are we still recording?
Oh, it didn't end.